this is my BMW M135i that I fixed.
It had 2 oil leaks, a boost leak, a smashed headlight and a broken valvetronic causing it to misfire.
And luckily I managed to fix them all for cheap.
The valvetronics are nearly £400. I managed to get one second hand for free. The headlights are around £350 each. I managed to grab one for £130. The rest was just spark plugs and gaskets, which are pretty cheap anyway.
And if I was to get the work done by BMW themselves, it would have cost me thousands of pounds.
When I first got this car, it was a huge risk with the problems that it had, but now they're all taken care of, it's time to swap this car up because my goal is to swap up to a supercar. But as you'll see later in the video, not all things go to plan.
This was gonna be the next car. Well, we only have one job left to do on this BMW M135i, but we'll get into that a little bit later. For now, I actually want to add up how much it has cost to get this BMW from what was deemed as a pretty unusable, undrivable car to one that is fast, reliable and very fun. So I think it makes sense to just add everything up that it has cost us so far, and of course shout out to all of the companies that have helped get this car back on the road. But let me add up how much it has cost us so far.
And I think you're going to be really surprised when I tell you how much the total cost has been to fix this BMW.
£109.64. To say that this car was advertised with engine failure and was bought by the previous owner from a Cinetic car auction, which if you didn't already know is a scrapyard, we have now got it to a very fun, usable and reliable condition. This is 100% going to be one of those cars that I am definitely going to miss, but we are doing it for the cause of getting up to that supercar. So in this video, we're going to have to swap it on. But there's one job that I need to do before we can do that.
And that, of course, is a service. So I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to get the car on the ramps, and now I can undo that sump plug. I'm going to undo the old oil filter housing and remove the old oil filter, and now I can fit the nice shiny brand new one. And now it's time to fill it up with oil, and it's as easy as that.
Okay, we have fresh oil. We have a brand new fresh oil filter with all of the O-rings. All that's left for me to do now is turn the car on, make sure that the oil level is all okay, because on these, okay, we're good. On these, there actually isn't a dipstick. You have to go through this function. You have to click vehicle status, and there we go. Engine oil level okay. We're going to do a measurement, so we're going to have to get the car up to a temperature and leave it in park and then do a measurement on the oil. So I'm going to let it sit here and idle, and while I'm doing that, I'm just going to quickly reset that service interval using the scan tool. And there we go, we can now hit start measurement. That is going to measure the level of the oil. And there we go, the engine oil level is literally bang on the max, which is where I like to run them. And if we shut the door, we now no longer have that big service light on the dashboard. I'm going to say that is a job well done, and a massive thank you to MPD for supplying the oil and the filter. Now the next owner knows that they don't have to really touch this car servicing wise for probably about 5,000 miles. It's got 6 brand new spark plugs, it's got a brand new oil filter, and it's got brand new oil. Right, let's go wash this car quick, and then we can get some pictures, get it online and see what we get offered. This is my favourite bit, and also probably the most sad part, because I actually am going to miss this one. But right, let's do it. And this is it. This is the end of the road for my BMW M135i. We've had our ups, we've had our downs, but we have got to the end of this project. It's fixed and it drives amazing, and this is definitely one of my favorite cars so far, but they all have to be swapped on. So I'm going to get some pictures of this car and we're going to go home, get it on the internet and get it up for swaps. Right, let's go home and let's get it up for swaps and see what we get offered. Okay, so I've got all of the pictures of the BMW on my computer now, and how I like to try and advertise these cars for swaps is of course over on my Instagram, so in case any of you guys have a car that you are willing to swap, we can sort out doing a exchange. But the alternative is just Facebook. I put it up for swaps only on the marketplace, and I also put it in this group. It is called Swap and Sale Cars UK, and all I will simply do is just do myself a post in there. I'll write an honest and brief description on the car. So swaps only, 2014 BMW M135i, 102,000 miles, HPI clear, etc, etc. Just be as honest as you can. Include a rough price of what the car is valued at, and then I'm simply going to just include all of those pictures that we've just been out and taken. That way everyone knows exactly what the car looks like and what they're getting themselves into if they haven't watched the channel already. So here's the post, and there we go. Easy as that. The post is ready to go. So all I need to do now is click post, and that's it. We wait and see what we get offered. So it has been a few days now since I actually posted the BMW. This is an older post that I did, and we've also got a load more offers on the newer post. But on this one, we've got a Golf R, which, yeah, that's pretty crazy, but I'll have to do some valuation checks on that to see what it's like. We've got a VR6 R32. We've got this Audi here that, well, I can't see the red, so I can't even do a valuation check on that. We have got a C-Class Mercedes. That would be quite nice, but I don't know if it's a step up. We've got a Pirelli Mark V GTI. They're really rare, but I think for the channel's sake, that might not be the best option. I mean, that is beautiful. That I was debating.
But then I got offered a car that had some serious issues, but was also a major upgrade and a great step in the right direction for what I'm trying to achieve. The only issue is there's a lot to organise with this one, and I'm not sure I'll be able to actually make it work.
Okay, this one, if I can actually make it work, is going to be absolutely insane. By far a swap that I was never ever going to expect to come my way, but there's quite a few issues with the car, the main one being that it doesn't start. The gearbox has apparently lost sync with the ECU, and the car doesn't know that it's in park, so it will not start. The front end's missing because it was having the timing chain done, so this one's going to take a lot of figuring out. The biggest thing that I'm going to have to figure out is the fact that the car is in South Wales, which is about 4 hours away from where I live. So somehow I'm going to have to try and find a recovery guy that will go up to South Wales, get the car and take the BMW and bring said car back. And I'm going to have to also be there because I need to film it. So if I can pull this one off, it is gonna blow everyone's mind. Like, by far one of the sickest cars that has been on the driveway. Let me make some phone calls, let me contact a few people. I might even have to contact a recovery service in South Wales and get a quote to see how much it'd be to bring the car to me. It's gonna take some organising. Let me see what I can do, and well, we'll go from there.
I'm really determined to make this one work, because if I can pull it off, this car is absolutely insane, and I think you guys will really love the step that I'm about to take. So I decided to ring up a few recovery services in South Wales to see how much the quote would be to get them to bring the car to me. Of course, I'm going to have to drive up to South Wales to drop the BMW off and film, but we're going to have to see what we can come up with.
Okay, well, thank you anyway. Cheers. Bye-bye, bye-bye. This might be harder than I thought. I don't even think this is going to be possible. That's 2 recoveries I've rang now, and no one can get this car back. This, I need to try and figure this out, man. This needs to happen. I can't miss this car. This one is insane. Let me carry on.
And after phoning up a few more recovery services, I kept getting told the same answer.
No, don't worry, that's not a problem. I know it's quite late notice. That's all right, not to worry. Okay, bye. This ain't gonna be possible. If this doesn't work out, I will tell you guys what car it was gonna be, but as of now, this ain't looking likely.
But as you guys know, I'm not one for giving up, and after a few more phone calls, I actually had a breakthrough.
We may have figured it out. I actually think we might have figured it out. We're just waiting for one person to confirm if said person can borrow a trailer from his workplace, then this is going to be possible and we're going to be going to get this car. We're just waiting on the confirmation and then we should be good to go. This is mental. This is mental. Well, we've got some good news. It is all confirmed. We are swapping the BMW M135i on for the next car. It took me about 3 days to organise transportation to South Wales and getting the car back, but the person that has made it all possible is actually a familiar face on the channel, so we'll be catching up with him when we head up to South Wales. The only problem is the guy can't swap until Saturday because of his work, which is understandable. I'm willing to wait for this one instead of just rushing the content and getting a car that isn't as good. So we've got a little bit of time to kill. So I think what we should do in the meantime is clear the whiteboard and do some valuation checks on the 135i, just to make sure we know exactly how much this car is worth on paper. So once we get the new car, which blows my mind that it is going to be replacing this car, we can then work out how much of a price difference there is in these cars. Now don't get me wrong, the car that we're getting has got its issues, which is why it is a fair swap for my BMW. But for now, let's get on Enter Reg, let's do a few checks, do a few valuations, and we'll actually see how much this car is worth on paper. So how I value all of the cars and how I have valued it the whole time in this swapping series is with Enter Reg. Now, when I am swapping a car, I will obviously use the same valuation system as when I am getting a car. That way, we both know that me and the next owner are happy. So, we have got some prices for this BMW. Now, I don't know if this will be surprising to some people, but this car is actually worth, I think, a little bit more than what people would actually expect. The trade value of this car is actually £6,549. That is how much you would get if you were to part exchange this car and get money off your new car at a dealership. That is how much money they would actually give you. Now, when they have bought that car off you and they have made sure everything is all good with it, they have sorted out any little dings, any scratches or anything like that, this car would then be ready to retail. And if they were to retail it, they could put it up for £9,785, which is crazy. The amount of difference in that is absolutely nuts. But the reason the trade value is so cheap is obviously to cover if the engine had issues, if the car had anything untowards with it, or there was any hidden damage somewhere under a bumper or under a wing, or for any expenses or repairs that that car needed. That way the retailer slash trader can then make sure that even if he had to spend a couple of grand fixing the car, he is then still making a little bit of profit. So that is why there is such a difference from trade to retail. Now, the one in the middle, which is the one most relevant to me. Private sale price on this car is £7,960. And there you go. I try and keep it as real and as honest as I can on this channel. The private sale price of this car is about £8,000. Now,
Of course, Enter-Reg doesn't actually know the exact condition of this car, and the fact that it's just had the wheels refurbed, the fact we've just put a nice new headlight in it, they've got brand new grills, and all the engine work has been documented so people know the work that's gone into it. I'd personally value this car at about £8,500. The good thing with a private sale price is that is the base figure, and it is up to the private seller how much they value their car at. But for now, that is the end of the road for the BMW M135i. I've done everything I needed to do to this car. I've made sure it is reliable and it is in a great condition. And I think the next owner is going to have a great car that they can love and enjoy. For now, we've just got to wait until Saturday where we can go and swap it for the next car. And if you guys are enjoying the video so far and like the risks that I take on this channel, then please consider hitting that subscribe button because it helps me out massively. The day has arrived. We are about to go and take the BMW to meet the recovery guy that is going to be taking it to Wales with us. We will meet him in a little minute. Before we go, it's going to be a long day. I think I've got a 4.5 hour drive there and about a 4.5 hour drive back. So, of course, I'm going to make myself a quick energy drink before we hit the road. And how I'm going to do that, instead of going to a petrol station and picking up a horrible, nasty energy drink, I'm going to make myself a Holy. Now, one of the great things about Holy is there's no sugar, there's no artificial flavours or colours. And in my opinion, they taste way better than the unhealthy alternatives. The best part is each serving of 500 millilitres costs you less than £1. And if you're not sure on what flavour you're going to like, well, don't worry, because Holy do a sample pack of some of their best selling flavours. And trust me, there's a flavour for everyone. And if you're not into your energy drinks, they also do iced tea, hydration, and now even milkshakes, which I've got to be honest, I'm addicted to. So if you want to save money and stay away from them horrible, nasty energy drinks and help improve what you're putting into your body, then you can use the discount codes on the screen now, and I'll leave the link in the description, and you can get started with Holy. But for now, I'm going to do the final drive in the BMW M135i. And it really is crazy to think how far we have came from doing the timing chain on that 1.4 Vauxhall Astra that we had. This BMW started life with me as a rough car that barely even made it onto the driveway, and now it's going to be going to South Wales for the new owner to enjoy. There we go. That is the last drive in the BMW M135i. We're about to load it onto the trailer. Let's do it. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, the mystery man that made it all happen.
Morning.
Morning, it's Bazaar!
Morning.
Right, I've got a question. What do you think to the next car without telling them what the car is?
Very good, very exciting.
Do you think it's better than the BMW?
Yes, definitely.
Baz's approval, there we go. Right, let's get the car loaded, and then we've got a long drive ahead, haven't we? So a massive shout out to Baz for taking time out of his weekend to make this possible. Without him, I don't know what I'd have done and how much I'd have been paying to get a car recovered all the way from South Wales. But now it's time to get the BMW loaded and hit the road. There we go, we are all locked and loaded. Let's do the 4-hour drive to South Wales and go pick up the new car. This is the most exciting part, when I'm heading to see the car that I'm going to be swapping for. And when I got there, I was definitely surprised at how this one looked. This is going to be a massive job. Oh my God. I mean, apart from the fact that the front end is completely missing, what have I got myself into here? Right, let's go have a look. Simon, who is now going to be the new owner of the BMW M135i. Simon, what I want to know is why you've swapped me, without revealing it, what you've swapped me, and why do you want the Beamer?
Always fancied a Beamer, and I've had a few issues with that one. Thought it was a time to have a change.
Have a change?
Yeah.
So you've spent some good money on the car that you're swapping me, and you've just got to a point where you just want something to jump in. And you've had enough. Yeah. And like I say, this car is worth more than the BMW M135i, but in its current state, it needs a few bits doing and kind of figuring out. What do you say? That's fair
Yeah,
to say.
definitely.
So, yeah, the new owner of the BMW M135i is Simon. I guess, without further ado, we better cut to the new car. There we go, an A45 AMG. Never in a million years did I think that from the Astra I'd be taking this car home. But as you can clearly see, the front end is missing and there's a few little issues that need rectifying with this car. Obviously we've got to put it all back together for one, but there is a little bit more to it than just putting it all back together. What exactly happened?
I had my timing chain done and had it back from the garage and it wouldn't start. It's like it's lost sync with the gearbox and the
ECU's lost sync with the gearbox. Okay.
They'd left the battery off a couple of weeks and it just gone off.
Right, so and you say apparently when you put the batteries back on you need a key in the ignition,
Yeah,
is that right?
and it's got a link with the key. Obviously they haven't done that part.
Gotcha. So currently it doesn't start whatsoever because the car doesn't know that it's in park.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's not showing anything in that thing. It says park on the dash but it doesn't say on the gearbox.
Okay, I'm with you. So it doesn't run. I know people are thinking, oh, you bought another car that doesn't run, but this time we're literally going to have to push it onto the trailer, which is the next step. So we'll get the car loaded and we'll have a proper look round this, well, if we can get it onto the driveway. But Simon, thank you very much, mate, for doing a swap with me. Thank you for being part of it. Let's get it loaded.
The only thing we had to do now is try and figure out how to get the handbrake off because this car does not start at all.
Okay, somehow we've got to get this out of park, and obviously the gearbox is not in sync with the ECU, so we currently cannot get the parking brake off. This might be a bit of an issue, but we're going to jump it onto the caddy and then see if it'll come out of park. Fingers crossed it does, but literally nothing at all. The car just has no clue what it is doing. We've got to work quite out with this one.
Luckily, we were able to get the handbrake released just by giving it a boost from the caddy's battery, but little did we know that this was going to be the least of our issues.
We are off. Right, sorted. Perfect.
Leave it on for a couple of seconds, we've got a bit of
Yeah,
charge
yeah,
when
yeah.
we get back.
We've got a jump pack anyway if need be. Yeah. Without changing gear, consult workshop. Whisk. Uh-oh. Oh my god.
All we've got to do now is push the A45 AMG off the driveway, down the road and onto the trailer, but this is where we encountered the major issue, which might end up meaning that we have to take the BMW back.
No, you didn't put the brake.
No. I think is the handbrake still on?
The car just refused to move. The parking brake was off and everything seemed like it should just roll. Even the dashboard said that the car had a risk of rolling, but for some reason it just wasn't budging. I'm not sure if the front calipers are seized or if it's something to do with the all-wheel drive system and that the front diff just won't let the car roll. But as of now, we can't get this car to move.
Well, we've got a bit of a predicament. The rear handbrake is off, but the car won't move. We don't know if there's something that you need to override in the car or if just both the front calipers are seized. But you say it's only been sat about a month and a half,
Yes.
which would be surprising if both of them are seized at the same time, but at the minute the car doesn't move. I don't know how we're going to get it, well, home.
What doesn't make sense is for both the front calipers to seize at the same time, but if the car was still in park then surely the engine would have turned on, which would have meant that everything would have been solved. This one I really couldn't figure out.
It's no fault of anyone's, but obviously like we've mentioned earlier, this car has been stood for about a month and a half, 2 months, and as far as kind of we think, there's no electrical issue or anything. The rear handbrake's coming off, but the car just will not move. We've had me, Simon and Baz trying to push it, and it's just not budging, is it? It just will not move. I'm pretty sure this caliper, well, I'm pretty sure both calipers have seized. Obviously they've got a bit of rust built up on them, but that's inevitable. So I've literally tried everything possible to make this work, but the car just won't roll. And we could drag it onto the trailer. Yeah, it might damage the car, it will probably damage the trailer, but then I've got to get it off, and with a seized caliper there's no way I'm going to get this car off and onto a driveway, because well, I couldn't even push it onto the driveway anyway. There's a fence, it needs someone to pull it. So I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I've got to take the BMW back. I mean, content's content. What this was going to be the next car. The intention was to fix it, put it all back together and take it to the Nürburgring in 3 weeks time, but some things aren't meant to be, mate. Some things aren't meant to be. Yeah, so from here I don't really know what to suggest. Does anyone? No? They've got a lot to say.
Is he having a laugh? I've wasted my whole Saturday for this. Sometimes, Jesse Collingham, I love you, but sometimes I hate you.
I'm sorry. I'm giving the paperwork back. What can you do? At the end of the day, it's cars, isn't it?
Can't do anything.
It's cars, and he didn't know, because obviously he's not got anyone to sit in the driver's seat while he pushes it. So
And if we got it on the trailer, we ain't going to get it off.
that's what I've said. There's no way I'll get it onto the driveway.
It's one of them things. What can you do?
The Beamer's still up for swaps. That's it.
It's been a trip out. Anything, Little Tyke's car or...
Nip to motorway on the way back. We buy any car. Right, I'm going to give him the paperwork back. I'll give him the key back, and well,
You get your credit card out for my dinner.
Some things just aren't meant to be, and like Baz said, if we winched this car onto the trailer, we would literally have no chance of getting it off when we get back home. So I had to just take the BMW back.
I mean, like I say, content's content, but sometimes you can't even write it, can you? I mean, luckily, Baz has done this for us, come to pick this car up. Like, everyone, I need to get I need to get a massive thank you, Baz, in the comments, because if I'd have booked a recovery to come all the way out here, how much that would have cost, and to go back with the BMW would have been crazy. But again, it's no one's fault. What can you do? What can you do?
Absolute melt.
I guess all we've got to do now is make the 4.5 hour drive back home to put the BMW back on the driveway and come up with a plan. The only annoying thing is I waited a full week and missed an upload just so I could get this A45 AMG. But again, this is cars and some things just don't go to plan.
Well, the time is currently 8 o'clock, so we've officially been on the road for 11 hours, and we are no different to when we started. This is cars at the end of the day. Some you win, some you lose, and some things just aren't predictable. But for now, I'm going to get some rest, and well, I'll come out tomorrow and try and figure out a plan. But yeah, if you'd have told me that this morning we'd be back with the BMW on the driveway, well, I'd have definitely not believed you. But what can you do? What can you do? Let's come up with a plan. Well, normally when I sit in this chair, I'm either on my phone trying to figure something out because I'm confused, I'm either thinking of what to do next, or I'm just simply having my dinner. But this time, I'm lost for words. I don't actually know where to go from here. I mean, it goes without saying, the BMW M135i is still up for swaps. I need to get this car moved on. It needs to go because I need to carry on making content. Now, the Mercedes, like I say, it's cars, some things aren't meant to be. But again, the only annoying thing was obviously I delayed and kind of missed an upload just to go get that car for it not to work out. But end of the day, was any of us to know that the calipers were going to seized, or what exactly happened with that Mercedes? What actually happened with it, I don't know how clear the video ended up being, but apparently he had the car sent to a Mercedes specialist to have the timing chain done, and in the process of that the battery was off for about 2 weeks. And what I have been told is when you plug the battery back into the car, like when you attach the battery again, you need the key in the ignition, and that wasn't done, therefore it has lost sync with the gearbox. That is the story with that Mercedes. That is apparently why it's in the position it was in. I don't exactly know why the headlight and the front end and everything was off for the timing chain to be done. That I don't actually know. There might be a valid reason, I do not know, but it just wasn't meant to be. It was not meant to be. And is it a blessing in disguise? I don't know. Maybe it was supposed to be that way, and I'm a big believer in things happen for a reason. So yeah, the BMW is up for swaps, and I just hope that I'll be able to move this on this week and we can go and swap the car on as soon as possible, because obviously the last thing I want to do is miss another upload. I'm willing to miss uploads to make a better video the week after if it means having to miss one, but all I'm waiting now on is someone to swap me with this car. And I know people are saying, why don't you just sell this and buy another car? I can make a whole different series once I've got to the supercar with this one. This one is strictly swapping. That's my little twist on things, and I want to keep it real. I want to keep it authentic, and no matter the struggle, I want to make sure I'm still swapping car for car, logbook for logbook, and staying true to the story. So, ladies and gentlemen, my beloved BMW M135i is still up for swaps. If you have anything to offer, then let me know. Maybe I'll have to take a bit of a sidestep and swap for something that may not have issues, but is worth the same money, but is easier to maybe insure or something like that, because obviously these are rear wheel drive, 3 litre turbo, 300 horsepower, so not everyone can insure them for a good price. So yeah, I'm glad it has made a entertaining video. Some things you win, some things you lose, some things aren't meant to be, but if you did enjoy it, please remember to like, comment and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
You wear a hat they call dad. Me, I'm the dad in a hat. You just like clubbing and clothes. Me, I like afternoon naps. 3, I be missed for the road. My oldest like counting racks. My middle one, she's in a dirt bike. My youngest is just like a mama. The mama loves me and I love her, so if she wants something, it's never a bother. 3 to the ladies, my babies.